Hello all. I hope everyone's having a good weekend and enjoying the Leo full moon. It's been a while since I've done videos, but it's time to start again. And I was really inspired by this full moon, so I wanted to come out with a video and share my interpretation of the energy for this full moon and some of the things that have been leading up to it. And I hope that it helps you along your path. I sure am inspired. Anyhow, so I want to begin today with sharing you a card that I pulled for this video. I've recently acquired my first tarot deck, and I've never been really into tarot, but this deck chose me. I didn't choose it. This book and the tarot deck associated with this book has popped into my life over the past 10 or so years at random. So, okay, I get the message. I got the tarot deck, which wasn't available until late last year. And so, all in time and good timing, right? The deck is for the famous alchemical book called The Splendor Solis. And the reason that it's so famous is because it was so beautiful, beautifully gilded, beautifully illustrated. I believe there were maybe 7 or less created in the world in a time before, everyone had a printing press, or maybe they did, but these were special. These were made for very wealthy people, nobility. And some amazing artists and scholars came together and have put out a book that you can buy that's in color, that's beautiful, gilded. I think it's like $20. You can get it on Amazon. And it goes into all the research that they did on the history of the book. Fascinating. I haven't gotten through it all, but I got it. And I got the Associated Tarot, which is just stunning, gorgeous, gilded, amazing artwork. And of course, the book for it, no less amazing, very profound interpretations, very contemplative. I don't see that this is a tarot card that you would do for others so much as for yourself for contemplation. So the card that I pulled for this Leo full moon, you can see the back of the cards. It's beautiful. Let me try and bring that up to the camera here. This is the Devil card for this deck. You can see at the top here, the sun god Apollo is pulling a chariot. The sun is the overall energy of this card specifically. And inside the egg here is a peacock, gorgeous, and all around it is just this beautiful scene of people just enjoying life. There's music, there's merriment, there's dancing, there's lovers whispering, there's a nice picnic happening. It's just a gorgeous day, and it really reflects this full moon. So I'll quickly read through the interpretation that the book gives us of this card. I am the peacock, inner alchemy of the devil, lord of the gates of matter, child of the forces of time. I am life's most positive and most misunderstood power. I come to you to challenge ugly reversals of beautiful material powers, restoring them to forces of delight and creation. I am artisan of the renewing intelligence, aligning creative process with divine creation to renew all changing things. All Sun Mercury experiences of the 4 worlds are woven into my alchemical path. I am the radiant inward vision of life lived forwards, not lived backward, which merely spells devil. My many-colored peacock tail arises under Venus bright light, whose alchemy transforms the goat-footed ignorance to the golden radiance in the garden of delights. See my thousand shimmering eyes reveal the right use of love's generative powers. Dear alchemists, only those who can quicken the soul will see its color, but the steam must rise up. Allow kindly mirth into your life. Lift the pantomime chains, the fake chains, and look forward away from dogma to divine intelligence. Creation, excuse me, through me, great raw powers of creation are developed into those skillful arts by which blissful love, culture, and civilization flourish on earth. So, after reading that interpretation, I think I'm mistaken. I think that that was not Apollo at the top, but Venus. Okay. So, what did that interpretation say? That was a mouthful. Well, it was saying this, instead of using all your creative forces to merely gain material wealth or things that actually end up shackling you and weighing you down, use it for a life lived forward that brings forth the love in your heart into creations of art, music, a life well lived in general. So, interesting card for this full moon. I hope you got something from that. I did. Okay, back to the interpretation of what's going on in this general time. Well, last weekend we had the Super Bowl, and the halftime show caused quite the uproar. So during this halftime show, we had an Aquarius, Shakira, and a Leo, J-Lo, perform together. Two very different styles, yet the overall theme was sort of, putting Latino culture on a stage, which they did, and it was spectacular. It was a big show. There were some things in the show that really caught my eye. In the beginning of the show, Shakira came out. She's in red, and her song that she came out with was She Wolf. And in the lyrics of the song, it's saying something to the effect of, women have this inner she wolf, and the she wolf needs to come out to breathe, okay? And this sort of set the tone for the show because the she wolves in these ladies came out to breathe, okay? And it triggered a lot of people. And that was also very interesting. So during Shakira's performance, she was the first to perform. She did a belly dance. She did some very tribal African dances. She also did this celebratory tongue thing that they do in the Middle East that I thought was very Kali-esque, and and she just exposed a whole world to cultures they knew nothing about. And I think it was misinterpreted, but that's neither here nor there. Well, then here comes, just the nature of her performance was so Aquarian. She wanted to represent all of the cultures that had influenced her and affected her life. She wanted to bring forth an homage to Africa, to Afro-Latinos, to everything that blended into the culture she grew up with, including her Lebanese heritage and, Middle Eastern influences. And so it was a very Aquarian, all of us vibe, let's showcase this diversity here and be proud of it and celebrate it. Well, then, here comes J-Lo. And as soon as she came on the stage, she's at the top of the Empire State Building like some goddess King Kong. And it's about her. And that's very Leo. And she's going big. The production's big. The outfit changes are big. There's dancers everywhere. Very Leo. Very, hey, I'm here to shine. And it was amazing to behold. It was shocking in moments. And then once they both sort of did this, it quieted down, and there was this gorgeous scene of children in these gilded cages, which was an obvious reference. But there was an aerial view of the stage, and when you look down, it was the female symbol, the symbol of Venus, again, speaking to goddess rising, feminine influence, all of that. I really like that. That was really neat. And neither of them outshined each other. They both shined in their own right. They both, it was a really a collaborative effort. And I loved that. That was amazing. So towards the end, I have to admit there were some scenes where I was a little shocked, but after hearing all the reaction to it and seeing the various reactions from all over the world, not just the negative, it was too sexy reactions, but seeing people in Africa excited to hear their rhythms, and seeing people in Colombia excited to see the champete dancing and stuff that was specific to their culture, and just seeing people in Asia looking at this and being mesmerized, and girls in hijabs doing the dance challenge that Shakira put forth. And it was just really amazing, and it really showed how much representation matters. People feel seen. I did see some criticisms from Afro-Latinas wishing that Shakira and J-Lo would have done more to showcase the Afro-Latina aspect of Latina culture. And, I think there were some attempts. I hope that, baby steps, I hope we get there. I'm sorry those people didn't feel as represented as they thought they should. But, hey, we're all trying over here, right? So, anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I have nothing to say about those criticisms. They're all valid as far as I'm concerned, including the people who said it was too sexy for them. That's what they perceived. That's valid. I think that show really triggered some repressed sexual energy, and it bothered people, frankly. And there was that aspect of the feminine there, that I think really what triggered people was, in our culture sometimes we have this Madonna whore complex, where the young women, maybe it's more acceptable for them to be risky and sexy, but once you're a mother and you have children, you need to be respectable and you need to be this certain way. Well, these two women are over 40 and they have children, they're mothers, and they were doing the most. They were very sexy, very erotic, very physical, very sensual, and obviously upset people. So anyway, that's leading up to this Leo full moon. And what I got from that show was, for this full moon, it's on that axis, that Aquarian Leo axis. And it is lightening up the thicker, denser energy that we've been dealing with the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in Capricorn, which is really heavy, really weighty, and has all of us feeling it's somewhere in our life, this just cannot go on anymore. I just have to make this change. I'm just so done with this. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but it just has to be done, okay? So now here we are at this Leo full moon that's saying, hey, you've been getting the signs. You've been getting the messages. Your soul family's been coming to you. People from your past, new friends that think like you, want to have a vision like you do. They're coming to you. You guys are coming together. Unfortunately, this isn't happening for everyone, but for people that are a little more in tune, it is happening. Just talk to them. Even people that aren't in tune, they'll tell you, I got to quit this job right now. I got to get out of this marriage. you know what, that's it. I'm so done eating fast food or whatever it is. They've hit a wall with something and it has to change. Even if they're retired, there's something, they're just, it's time for a change. It's different for everyone right now. Well, with this full moon, this full moon is saying, okay, it's time for a change. You kind of know what direction you need to go in. You don't have to have it all figured out right now, okay? Have a little faith, take heart, have courage, find joy in it, find passion in it, but make the step, because this full moon is trying the Mars in Sagittarius conjunct the galactic center, okay? So what's that mean? What is the galactic center? What does all that mean? So the galactic center is this sort of overall guiding force, right? That relays information. I don't want to say information, but I'm trying to give you an analogy. So it's kind of like the weather, and the sun is kind of like the weather reporter. It's, picking up what the weather's doing, and it's the weather guy saying, hey, okay, here's what the weather's doing. And then you act and dress accordingly to all of that. So it's sort of like that. And what the energy is bringing to us is a message of, okay, now you're aware. Okay, now it's time to act. It's time to do something. We're here. You're supported. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know if you're going to make it or fall flat on your face. Have courage. Have heart. Do something that makes your heart happy. Bring up your vibe, Leo energy is about fun. It's about enjoyment. It's about keeping the fires burning. How do you keep the fires burning? How do you keep from burnout? How do you, think about when you have a campfire, you have to fuel it. You have to fuel it with things that give you joy. You have to take risk. You have to have what else is a rule? Sex for fun, romance, games, play, risk, enjoyment, laughter. It's about coming from your heart. It's about your personal flair. Bring your personal flair. Don't be afraid to be you, to be big. Don't shrink down for anyone right now, If you feel like you're coming into alignment with your real self, move with it. It's not going to make everyone happy, but that's not what it's about. Okay? But, keep in mind, when you're happy, the people around you are going to reflect that. The people around you are going to pick up on that. And the ones that fall off, let them fall off. Okay? But if you're a parent, your children are just going to love to see you happy. They're going to want to be around you. And in that sense, Leo gets labeled selfish, but it's more like, if I make sure I'm keeping my flame fueled, I'm able to give off that warmth and that lovely way of being that is healing and helpful for everyone around me, Anybody will tell you, if you've been around somebody who has burned out in life, it is not fun. They're heavy, they're cranky, they don't care about anything, they're depressed, they're irritable. When you're around somebody who's feeling their enjoyment, who's doing things they love, even if it's not for work, even if it's just their hobbies, that maintains that, they're fun to be around. They're more spontaneous, they're more free-flowing, they have big belly laughs, and it's warming. It's nice to be around people like that. So typically in full moons, it's about awareness and release. So most definitely, whatever you've become aware of recently that needs to change. It's time to start letting go of what needs to be let go of and put yourself in an adventurous frame of mind for where you're headed. The fear's there because we don't know what's going to happen with the change that we're making, and that's very real, but just do it anyway. Think of when I think of Leo, I think of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Okay, she got swept up out of her home, her comfort zone, and dropped down into Oz. And upon coming to Oz, she's like, okay, this is different. And what happens immediately? A witch comes. And, well, no, first what happens is the good witch comes and gives her these ruby shoes for her new adventure. Okay? And those were those perceptions and those and that kind of inner knowing of when you started realizing this thing in my life has to change. And I just, I'm starting to feel hopeful again for a new future, for a new way of doing things. I'm starting to grow in my faith. These are those ruby red slippers that are given to you, and put them on. Right? Okay. So now here comes the evil witch. Here comes the fears saying, you're not going to make it. You could be broke. What are you going to do being single? Are you sure you're even going to be successful at this new lifestyle change? Whatever it is that your change is about, the fears are coming to you, and they're going to be throwing obstacles at you, just like the Wicked Witch did all along the yellow brick road, the golden brick road for Dorothy. But what did Dorothy do? She made some friends, and these friends are very symbolic: heart, courage, and brains. Okay, so muster up, let your heart lead. That's the first one she met. And then, well, no, she met the scarecrow. Anyway, let your heart lead. Have some common sense check about what you're doing. Be practical, be realistic. If it's a job change you're trying to do, save up some money to transition out so that you feel a little safe or whatever. You're never going to be fully ready, but be smart, common sense, okay? Use your brains. Let your heart be the guiding light, and have courage. Have courage and roar, and your soul family's coming together for you. They're on the same path, not exactly the same, but they're here with you. And with this Leo Aquarian axis, on one end's Aquarius, on one end's Leo on the astrological chart. So one end, the Leo end, is all about big self-love. And I think there's a quote that's like, when you love yourself, the whole world loves you, That's a Leo thing. Aquarius is that I love the people from afar. I express my love by working for the cause, working to elevate our lives as a group, So think about that. They're both about love, period, and the heart, okay? So if in your life you've been more on the Leo end, where it's like you're so focused on self-love, your desires, what only makes you happy, getting, accomplishing things for your own ego needs or whatever, that's not necessarily bad, but you may want to consider moving into the Aquarius side of things and think, wow, I have these desires, these goals. How could I get there faster, easier, by working with a network of people, working in a collaborative, utilizing teamwork, thinking of how what I'm doing can benefit others as well. Likewise, if you are more on the Aquarian end and it's everybody else but you, it might be time to pull in some Leo energy and look out for you, feed you, fuel you, so that you can keep helping others. Okay? And if you're all fueled up and fed, and start feeding others, share it. Excuse me, I need some water here. Sorry about that. So, Leo, again, talking about Leo here. Leo, that's about the heart. And I want to make some recommendations on the heart. I really recommend looking at a qigong. Are there some moves that can help you move through that energy of the heart, build up that courage? In qigong, there are healing sounds, and the one for the heart is a yawn, which is kind of like a roar, like wow. You know, that kind of help build up that heart chi, that heart energy. Another one is a laughing sound. I mean, humor is the best medicine, right? You know, a ha 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 ha. Build up that heart space energy, build up that courage. You know, maybe some things like that could help. Getting out in the sun, definitely playing, doing something that's fun to you, whatever that is. If taking apart a computer and putting it back together is fun for you, do that. Whatever is fun for you. This will help you to build that courage to make these changes that are kind of scary right now, but that have to happen because you're so done with whatever you're done with. You know, I think about my lowest moments in life, moments where I was really in survival mode and just stripped to the bare minimum. And what got me through were laughs, was humor, was music that gave me joy, was making sure I had fun and it wasn't just all struggle. So think about that, you know, how important humor and laughter is, and what it does for you, and enjoyment, even basic enjoyments, you know. So I think that's about all I have to say for this full moon. Oh, another thing, since the card did have Venus mentioned in it, Venus is moving into Aries shortly after the full moon. So again, you're being prompted to take action on your heart's desires and go after what it is you want. Have that courage, you know. Aries energy, it just is courageous. It doesn't have to work for it. It just is pioneering and ready to just go for it, you know. Not a lot of thinking sometimes, which has its recourse, but making stuff happen. So let your heart lead, do a common sense check, have courage, have faith. Think about Dorothy. She went through all these obstacles. She got to the wizard, and the wizard said, well, I can help you if you destroy the witch. And, you know, gave her a clue. I think, I can't remember, about the water or something. I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't even know. So she goes, she's terrified, and the whole crew's terrified. But they do it. They destroy the witch. And she comes back to the wizard, and he's like, look, I'm sorry. All of this is glitz and glamour. I don't really know how to help you. But I can try. And it didn't work out. But the good witch came down and said, look, you had it in you all along. All you had to do is click your heels 3 times, go home. You know, it was there for you all along. You already had it in you. So have some faith and know that you're supported. All the energies, according to astrology right now, are giving that support for you to do that and pushing you to do that. But furthermore, you know, just know that fear's there. Fear's always there. I have fears about making changes. of course, you know, we all do. But sometimes you just acknowledge it and do what you have to do anyway. Anyway, with that, I hope you let out a big roar this full moon and have some fun and do something. Just one little thing, one little action step that puts you in the direction that you know, but maybe you haven't fully acknowledged. But with this full moon, you need to fully acknowledge this direction you need to go in. And listen to your heart over your head. Don't rationalize what your heart wants. Do a common sense check, but let the heart lead and have courage in that. Anyway, hope you all have a good night. Hopefully I'll be back soon.